You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Michael, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Well, since I'm back. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hi, this is illustrious Michael K. Easton.
My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth.
Hey, guys.
Oh, boy.
What's happening, my brothers?
How was your fish, Cliff? Did you eat fish?
Had fish. Yeah, picked some fish up after work. I was going to go to Long John's, and I got out late, and they were already closed. So I rolled into Captain D's because I already had it in my head that I was going to get some fried fish and maybe some shrimp or something like that on the way home. Got an empty house tonight. Everybody else is not here. And my daughter has a regional volleyball tournament this weekend, so they're all up in Columbus. Left this afternoon. So picked up some fish and then quickly realized as I was about the 4th or 5th car in line what a horrible, misconstrued idea that was, because I was going to be there for a while.
Good thing Long John Silver's was closed because you would have been there for a freaking hour because they fry it fresh.
It's been pretty quick the last couple times I've been there. It's fastest
really?
I've ever went.
Fastest fish you ever had?
Fastest fish in the West.
What restaurant closes that early on a Friday night?
Yeah, I know. It was really strange, and the sign was off. It was dark inside. I was like, I don't know what was going on. Maybe they didn't have enough people to work.
Maybe their electric went out like mine did this week.
Yeah, Semi took out the Asylum Comics, I heard. So
yeah, I was just sitting there on a lovely Thursday afternoon and heard a weird noise from across the street, and a semi truck had snagged a wire and yanked it completely off the pole.
So what does a weird noise sound? What does a weird noise sound like to you?
It was kind of a pop noise. It was right when the electric went out, so I thought maybe a transformer blew or something, but no, it was a power line being
yanked,
broken off the cord. And I swear to you, without joking, the first thought that went through my mind was that G.I. Joe knowing is half the battle. Like,
look, the storm knocked down that big wire.
Hey, let's jump our bikes over it.
Now, we better move it off the road.
No, you better leave that power line right where it is. There's enough electricity there to fry an elephant.
We didn't think it was dangerous.
You'd have found out too late. Remember, never play around electrical wires or you could be playing with fire.
Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe!
That was ingrained in me in 5 years old. Don't go near that. Don't go near that cord. Roadblock would chew me out for going near that cord. So those things might be cheesy, but I bet they've saved some kids' lives over the years.
It did this week.
And recruited some Cobra.
Probably. Well, I just took a long lunch, and my landlord texted me like barely an hour later. It's like, hey, the lights are back on. So it was a really quick, it was way quicker fix than I thought it would be from the amount of damage that happened.
Yeah, a semi truck causing chaos is nothing new for Seth and I. Up in our neighborhood, one gets stuck every other day trying to make a turn off of our hill we live up on top of. So if it normally takes over an hour just to even get the tow truck there, so you get off pretty easy.
Now,
is that a fresh cut, Cliff? You look pretty sharp.
Yeah, it's been killing y'all. I let them know, guys.
You're making Chewy look a little hairier than normal.
Patrons of Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, can see Cliff Barnes' haircut in real life. Our secret YouTube link.
Yeah, I had Monday off, so I hadn't had a haircut, a proper haircut in over a year. My wife has done a wonderful job of keeping it trimmed up, where at least to the point where nobody really said anything about it. So
To your face.
Yeah, to my face. So I made the decision the other day as a fully vaccinated individual, truck going by, that I would, I thought, man, I'm going to go and get a haircut. I'm just, I'll roll up, see if I can get in. No problem. So I pulled in that afternoon.
So are you like Matthew McConaughey from Dazed and Confused, like pulling up like, hey, you guys doing any haircuts, man?
No, well, I pulled up. There was only one truck in the parking lot.
Did that happen in Days of Confused?
I don't know what he's referencing, but
I don't remember that at all, man.
I just
we already
felt
said
like...
haircuts.
Yeah. Oh,
All right,
yeah.
amen.
Now
Just
I
keep
remember.
cutting, baby.
Yeah.
I was just going to trust that he knew what he was talking about.
I question everything.
But yeah, I
Moving
rolled up to get a haircut, and there was a sign out in the parking lot, and it said, call this number to sign in. And I was like, okay, cool. All right. They're on top of it, And so I called the number, and they answered and said, do you have an appointment? And I was like, no, I'm just reading the sign out here.
Be a lot cooler if you did.
Oh, I'm so glad that worked out.
So anyway, she said, well, we have a couple at 2:00 coming in. Could you be back here at 2:30? It's a Monday. And I was like, yeah, sure. No problem. I'll be back at 2:30. So I roll in at 2:30, and the people previous to me were already gone. I was like, cool. So I walked in and was immediately, greeted with, oh, you can take your mask off. We just keep that sign out front. So we don't get in trouble. And immediately I'm just like, ugh. So, I said, well, I've had both doses of the vaccine, and was met with, oh, I'm not getting that. And it just went downhill from there.
And I would be back to cutting my own hair.
And I came home after it, and I was just like, there was a lot of things said, back and forth, and just a terrible, terrible experience. And I came back home.
It was like, there's a lot of lawbreakers in there.
So when you got home, did you have to enter the decompression and purification and strip down? And
just
spray
hit me
your
with
body?
the steam. Just hit me with the steam.
The tea in Nepal is very hot.
But the coffee in Peru is far hotter.
Close.
This is Tuesday, right? The coffee in Paraguay is far hotter?
Colder.
The coffee in Paraguay is colder?
No, I meant you were getting colder. The correct response is the coffee in Peru is much hotter.
Much, okay.
But that's 3 wrong, so I gotta give you the steam.
No.
Unless you want me to break protocol.
No, give me the steam.
So no, I came home and I told my wife, I said, well, I went and, got a haircut. Won't be doing that for a while. She's like, what? I was like, it was a terrible experience. I'm finding somebody new. So yes, I got a haircut. Yes, it will probably be the last one for Lord knows how long from here on out. Just because I didn't like the way it went down. So
I don't like getting haircuts when things are normal. So that's why I've just gone to hell here this past year, because I'm not putting myself through that.
Well, yeah, I mean, Alicia's been, she's been trimming it up. She's done a really good job. But Jordan's just been the opposite. He's just let it go. He's got like 6 feet of hair over there now. I mean,
I have no one to impress. I have nowhere to be.
It sweeps the floor behind him as he walks. So
as soon as it hit, I'd start cutting my own hair, and I'm never going back.
Well, you know, I really wasn't going to, but I mean, God bless my wife. She's not a professional barber, and she had no idea going into it what she was doing. So it's just been a trial and error thing for a while. But she has gotten a lot, you know, much improved over the last year. But I thought, oh, it's the time, you know, at least I'll get it trimmed up. And even if I don't get it cut for, you know, however much longer now, she can kind of go off of that again. And so I guess that's what we're going to do.
Or you could do what I do and go to a more
Just
proper established. Yeah, no a more established place that actually provides masks when you go in.
See, had that
and they actually have like sticky masks so they can like get around your ears and stuff so the strings don't get in the way.
What?
So just the hairs right here to your face. It's like next level technology.
Wow. Michael's getting barbered in the future. So you send me that contact info. Maybe I'll try it out.
The cut above the wrist.
I don't know about that sticky situation though.
Called pasties.
I don't want any kind of Zemo paste pot Pete situation where that thing stays
you always
glued
have
to
to
my
wear
head.
it stuck to your face forever. Adhesive X.
Yes. We brought it back. So, okay, well, moving on from that mess.
That's a little bit about what we've been experiencing the past week, but if it was even better.
You down with KPP?
Yeah, you know me.
What the hell is wrong with you people?
You know me. What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
You know me.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
You know me. You don't know how it feels to be me. If you don't know me by now.
Why are you the way that you are?
Yeah, you know me. We haven't done this segment in a little bit. This is where we pick a random icebreaker, getting to know you type question and throw it out to the group and see what happens. Like a lot of this, it's just let's see what happens.
Throw it at the wall and see what sticks. Michael, have you done one of these segments since you've been back?
Probably not. It's probably been a minute.
Well, it's been a minute since we've done one, period. So sometimes these are a lot of fun. So go ahead and read us off our question for today, Jordan.
All right, I restocked our arsenal of questions because we were getting down toward the bottom of the barrel. So we have a few new ones to choose from. So the one we picked at random: did you ever have a nickname that stuck? Whether that's childhood or someplace you worked. Did you ever get gifted, good or bad, a nickname that has stuck with you any length of time?
You know, I have a good recent one that I'm not too excited about. So you guys will all enjoy this. So at my previous employment, my nickname was Superman. I was super excited about that. That's what everyone called me. Loved it. Because everyone knows I love Superman.
His whole life was led up to that nickname.
I thought that your last job, your nickname was Push'em Tongue.
that was my private nickname. So at this new place of employment that I am finally moving up tomorrow, my so-called friend at work said something to me one day, and I was like, I hate you. So he goes and tells the most loudest person that works there, and he comes up to me and goes, hey, let me see your ID. I was like, I just rolled my eyes. I was like, because I knew where this was going. He's like, oh my God, you look just like him. And I was like, yeah, huh? He's like, yeah, you look just like Bubbles off the Trailer Park Boys. if anyone knows that TV show, Bubbles is the guy that has like an inch thick glasses.
Oh, that guy. Okay.
Yeah, see, you immediately know who I'm talking about.
Now we know.
So next thing I know, it's
That's
spreading.
a far cry from Superman.
Yep.
Yeah, you think. So it's spreading around, and like there's a couple times I got a little pissy about it. One of the guys said, "You better calm down, Bubbles, or that's gonna be your nickname for the next 20 years."
Yeah, you can't let them. Yeah, you can't let them see how it affects you.
It's over now, Bubbles.
Yep.
They didn't even hit him with the Clark Kent with the glasses. It was straight to the Coke bottles.
Well, it's funny because my wife said, "Well, why don't you tell them that you were called?" I was like, "Oh no, that'll be far worse."
So I'll start calling you Super Bubbles.
Oh boy.
Oh wow.
Mine's not too exciting, so I'll go next. The only nickname I can even think of was high school band, of course. I was
Sticks Low.
Nah, nothing that cool. I was section leader of the percussion section, and at one random practice or whatever, we were goofing around and we gave everyone military ranks. And it was like you're Corporal Quad, you're Brigadier Bass Drum, you're Private Pit, and the two snares. One was Sergeant Snare, and they called me Captain Snare because I was the captain of the drum line. And for some reason, that one stuck. We forgot about all the other ones, but everyone started calling me Captain. And it was mostly sarcastic. Like the guys and the drummers were like, "Yeah, okay, aye, Captain." And it became spelled like Captain Crunch, CAP''N. It was never Captain, it was just Captain. But actually some of the younger kids started actually calling me that. Like, okay, hey, Captain, you mind if we do this? So it actually stuck. I was known as Captain for a couple of years.
Cliff, roll in the unit theme song under that story.
Oh, okay.
He'll like it when he listens back. I think the only nicknames, I might be forgetting something, but when I was a little kid, I remember my grandparents lived at the fairgrounds, and we were around horses and stuff all the time, and I swore cowboy boots all the time. I had a belt and it said Peanut on it because my grandma would always call me Peanut when I come walking in there, but that one never really stuck. That was like when I was real little.
Yeah.
But when I lived with a bunch of guys right out of high school, everybody had a nickname, and one of the guys one guy, Ross, that lived there, came up. We all read Calvin and Hobbes. Like somebody had all the Calvin and Hobbes books. I think it was him, and we just read. It was everybody's favorite, and we'd read them and stuff. And he just started calling me Spiff from Spaceman Spiff. And it is the one that stuck the most. Like those guys still call me that before they would call me anything else. If I get texts or anything, or if we play a game and write names down, keep score, that's the name that goes down. It's just like I've always been Spiff.
Yeah, I can roll right into. I feel like I'm giving up a lot of information tonight. I can roll right into high school times and
Cat Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the origin of Cat Daddy?
Oh, it's so dumb. At some, I don't know what summer it was. Probably, maybe, it might have been between like my freshman and sophomore year of high school. That summer, at some point, I was hanging out at a friend's house, and she lived right on the main road to our high school. And she had her house sat, it was just feet from the road. Their front porch was sitting there, and we were sitting there one day, and I had this idiot friend that he was driving by, I think on his way to football practice. So it was probably like 2-a-days or something like that, because it was in the evening, and he drove like this old 85 Chrysler, big boat of a car, had all the windows down, and of course the radio cranked up, and you know, we went to a country school, and so that's, you know, it's mid-90s. That's mostly what a lot of us listened to at that point. And Brooks and Dunn had a song at that point by that name, and as he was driving by, that song was on the radio, and he yells at me as I'm on the porch, "Hey, Cat Daddy!" And from then on, he just started saying that. And it instantly caught on. And for the way beyond high school with that group, or anybody that went to high school at that time, that's what I just had to live with. So it just went from there, and far it went, let me tell you.
Now, am I correct or am I incorrect that your wife is not a big fan of that nickname?
I can back that up, because one time I brought it up in front of her.
Yeah, never been a fan.
And she was just like,
yeah. Never been a fan, because that nickname had been around a while before, it predated her. So
yeah,
before we met. So yeah, and it you know, even to this day, if I see any of pretty much anybody I went to high school with, there's a good chance somebody's going to yell it from across the room.
Bobbles.
So,
I could just picture it, like you guys at the grocery store going down the aisle, and
yeah,
someone sees you and they're like, "Cat Daddy," and Alicia's just like, "I'll be over here in produce."
Yeah, it's weird, because for a long time I never thought much about it. So when like something like that would happen, you just, like, if anybody yells your name, you look up, it's just natural.
Hell, if somebody yells asshole, everybody looks up.
Right. So I got used to it for a long time. It stuck around with a certain group for a really long time. And, it was just, nicknames are weird. But people don't forget them. So I think we all in high school at some point, I think pretty much everybody, I went to school with all kinds of nicknames back then.
Oh, right. That's another, because you've had other ones. I was remember in high school, me and a friend of mine, they called us rock and roll. They would all, and it was the 80s. Mm-hmm. I just remember them saying that.
And I've heard back in the 80s, Seth had very long hair.
Yeah, it's probably more early 90s.
Long hair and a jean jacket.
Oh, I definitely had a jean jacket.
So, all right. Well,
that reminds. Yeah, we won't go there. You said jean jacket, and it just reminded me of a embarrassing middle school story.
Well,
by all means,
that's a different. Yeah, you know me.
Yeah, we can go back there some other time.
Well, we hope you know us just a little bit better, thanks to that probing question.
I feel probed.
So what are we on to now?
Movies.
Save Martha! Puny God.
I'm just a kid from Brooklyn. I'm Batman.
Kneel before Zod! On the roof!
Said it yourself, bitch. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
So what's it gonna be, huh? Long sullen silence? Or mean comment? Go on.
You got me in a box here.
Had a big trailer this week, sort of, I guess. What did they call it? Was this Phase 4?
Phase 4, I guess.
I don't think they actually ever said that, but people put that stamp on it.
Yeah, just kind of I guess more or less an update of where the MCU is headed as far as movies go.
Hey, don't forget, we still make movies.
Yeah.
Well, they felt confident enough to say, here's dates. Here's actual dates. These are coming out. You're going to get 4 a year, it looks like. And 4 in this half a year we're going to have.
And I don't know how close attention I pay, but some of this was new information, right? Like some of these titles and dates, this was breaking news.
Definitely. And just that, and I think I could see this coming from other people. I mean, this is a very Marvel or DC thing to do, but I could see other studios doing this, because really the point of it was, let's get back to the theaters. Let's, showing that footage, which is basically, what I said were my favorite moments from Endgame, showing Cap with the hammer and Avengers Assemble and all that, and the crowd losing their minds. That definitely that makes you want to be back and re-experiencing those types of things. So that was pretty genius idea to actually put that in their little trailer there.
It was our first look at the Eternals.
I think it's just Eternals now. Is that true? I think they changed that up, but that was a very Chloe Zhao look. I wondered how much influence some of these directors have on the style. I mean, they get more named directors for these things, and she just won the Academy Award for Nomadland and won awards for The Rider a couple of years ago. But she does very like Americana movies.
Oh, Angelina Jolie is gonna poop in a bucket.
Oh yeah. But it's wide open spaces and things stick out in her movies, and you got that vibe from the trailer or the little teaser they gave you.
Yeah, that's the one thing I just has not sold me yet. Like I don't the costumes, I don't know that I'm fully on board with the look of it all, but I'm going to trust the Marvel machine and all these actors that I like and a great director. So it can't be terrible, but I don't know. It still just hasn't quite convinced me that this is going to be on par.
Well, I had my doubts about Shang-Chi in the 10 or the Legend of the 10 Rings. Is that right? Is that what the proper? Yeah. And they dropped that trailer a week or two ago, and I was just like, okay, I'm on board. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah, I'll give it. I'm all for giving all of them a chance, but I'm the least excited for that one just because I've never been a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon fan. I don't like the crazy walking on trees and stuff. Not that this is all going to be that, but they're definitely going to have some of that in there and some of the, more traditional kung fu stuff. So, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be good, but I'm not crazy excited about it.
Michael, you shared we got our first image. Well, you shared with us the first image of Kamala Khan in costume from what we now know is going to be the Marvels.
Yeah. And because I don't know if that's a shot, because I thought they're working on a series starring her. So I was thinking that was a shot of her from the series, not the movie, but I could totally be incorrect on that.
Yeah, we don't know when that series is coming out, do we?
No.
Yeah.
It could be before or after that for all we know. But I like the title as far as what you can't. Were you going to call it Captain Marvel 2? I mean, I think that's what everybody just assumed.
Yeah.
And
I
like this idea better. I like this freshening it up.
I think Marvel was calling it Captain Marvel 2 when they first announced it. So this is much better. I agree.
Yeah.
Should have just done the Alien, like Captain Marvel, and then Captain Marvels. Just add an S on it for the sequel.
Oh, that would have been cool. GC, shoot. Change it again.
But we're assuming we're getting Photon as well, right? Wouldn't Monica Rambeau fit
that's
that
what
title?
They showed her, I think. So yeah, all three of them at the very least.
And then
so that's cool.
They got me when they flashed that 4 on the screen.
Well, that's not a mistake.
Yeah.
That wasn't just a pull the rug out from under you. It's really Captain America. They're doing that to. I think this whole next 2 or 3 years of movies is going to lead up to some Fantastic Four.
But when it flashed on the screen, I took it as, oh, this is the announcement, and then
they're being
coy,
smart.
And they can only announce 6 or 8 things at a time. We can't be too greedy.
Can't be like Star Wars where they announce 30 things at one time.
I mean, I don't know whether it's going to be a multiverse type thing that brings them in, but probably are they going to come in and it's going to have something to do with Galactus or whatever, or Silver Surfer, or who knows. But I think this whole phase, if you want to call it that, will end with them.
That's what we've talked about with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Ant-Man, Quantum Mania. All these ones seem to involve Loki. All these are involving Elseworlds and what ifs and dimensional travel and time travel and kooky stuff that the Fantastic Four would definitely fit right into. So yeah, I could buy that theory that this is all funneling the Marvel Universe toward a Fantastic Four movie.
I'm cool with that. And we end this year with Spider-Man. I didn't realize it was this year, so I'm psyched about that. I'm ready. Get it over with before they. I mean, I feel like they're trying like heck to spoil it. So let's just get there and get it over with.
Well, it's like with all the Spider-Man roomies, they're jumping all over the place. Are the other Spider-Man in it? They are. They aren't. They are. It's bouncing back and forth so many times. And I just thought of a really.
That was ridiculous. Sorry.
I just thought of an interesting plot that would be great to bring in the Fantastic Four of the new Ant-Man movie into the Quantum Mania. If they shrunk down into the subatomic and had some type of venture and end up meeting the Fantastic Four, and that the Fantastic Four from the 60s go total retro into it, got lost in there back in that time or whatever, and they helped them get out of it.
Okay.
He's figured it out. That's
spoilers. Anyway, that was exciting. I think everybody got a little fired up watching that trailer and all the things that are coming down the lane. So,
and not to be outdone, DC announced their second Fandom for October. Like they did last year, an online event with first looks at some of DC's biggest new movies, games, shows, and comics. So I don't know if you remember, they made a lot of news the last time they did that with all the new trailers and video game footage. Everyone was talking DC for weeks when that happened. So they're going to try to see if lightning will strike twice here.
Good luck.
I don't know. The overlords over there aren't doing too well.
Yeah. So, anybody watch any movies?
Yeah, I did. Carly and I watched a really good one, guys. It premiered on Netflix. It's called The Mitchells versus the Machines.
Let it begin.
The last humans must be here somewhere. Wait.
They're coming.
Is that a burnt orange 1993 station wagon? Or is it... Who are these unstoppable warriors?
We're the Mitchells, the only people who can save the world. I'm super sorry, everyone. Let me introduce myself. I'm Katie. I'm sort of a weirdo. My parents haven't figured me out yet. To be fair, it took me a while to figure myself out. My brother, also weird.
Hi, would you like to talk to me about dinosaurs?
No. Okay, thank you.
And my mom.
Candy face cupcakes.
All of us, really.
How about we put our phones down and we can make 10 seconds of unobstructed family eye contact. Starting now. See, this is good right here. This is natural.
Every family has its challenges.
We haven't had a good family picture in years because you two are always arguing.
For my family, our greatest challenge... probably the robot apocalypse.
Attention all robots. Capture every single person on the planet. Yeah! What would a functional family do?
Butterfly formation.
Getting all the buzz.
It was it's from Sony Pictures Animation, and it's got a really rounded out voice cast from people all the way from Conan O'Brien to Danny McBride and Maya Rudolph are in it. I think Abby Jacobson plays Katie, the kind of title character. So, but yeah, we just kind of were looking for something to watch, and I had seen something online about this movie being pretty good, and it was a lot of fun for not being a Disney production of some sort. Typically,
it's got to have that asterisk next to it.
Yeah.
Not a Disney movie.
It'll never be that, but no, it was really it was a lot of fun. The animation was kind of unique. It was kind of a between that Spider-Verse and kind of that 3D they use now. It wasn't quite Spider-Verse blurriness, but it had kind of some different textures and kind of overlay at times. That really set it out that you could tell. Oh yes, this is computer animation. It's not computer animation made to look softer and more like traditional animation. So, anyways, it's about a family, the Mitchells, whose eldest daughter, Katie, is getting ready to leave for college. She's an aspiring filmmaker.
Now, just before we go, we've fallen into dangerous territory before where you told the whole story.
Okay.
I want to watch this.
So she's off to college. Okay, that's no biggie.
Right.
She is going to study filmmaking, and her parents decide they're going to drive her off to college. And at this point, a very Microsoft Apple-esque tech company has they introduced their new virtual assistant. Okay, brand new version of their virtual assistant that goes awry.
Clippy.
Pow is the name. And somehow it becomes a story of robots taking over the human race, and the Mitchells are the only family left out there to save the world. And it's a lot of fun, guys.
I want to see it, but I canceled my Netflix.
Oh, you don't have Netflix. That's right.
I'm waiting till
Seth versus the Netflix.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need to stack some things up here.
Well, I highly recommend it.
That's why they put it out. They're trying to get me to do it.
I've been on the verge of canceling mine.
Yeah, just not watching it.
I've been fine without it because I have everything else.
Yeah, there's just so much else out there.
It's just so expensive.
I agree.
I watched another Netflix original, Stowaway.
Hey, sit down.
Did we take
No, hey, sit down.
Did we take off?
Sit down or you're gonna pass out. Commander!
Take off.
Commander!
Take off.
Michael, I'm Zoe. I'm a doctor. I want you to focus on slowing down your breathing. In through your nose, out through your mouth. I'm Marina Barnett, the commander of the ship. Do you remember what happened on the pad?
I'm a launch support engineer. We have. How long was I out?
We took off about 12 hours ago.
12 hours. I gotta get back to my sister, please. My sister, she's alone. Please, I gotta get back.
We're not going back.
What do you mean we're not going back? This is a 2-year mission.
2 years is a long time to be away, but this is the opportunity of a lifetime.
I can learn fast.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
We are taking the first steps to being able to call Mars a second home.
We're sorry that you missed the filet mignon, but this is the next best thing. We think it's spaghetti.
I should warn you now that Zoe thinks she's the in-flight entertainment.
There's no easy way to say this. Life support is damaged permanently. We only have enough oxygen aboard for 3 people.
Everyone on board will suffocate before we ever make it to Mars.
That looked really good. Like, I watched the trailer for that. I love the premise of that.
Yeah, it is Toni Collette, Anna Kendrick, Daniel Day Kim from Lost, and Shamir Anderson, who looked familiar, but I couldn't figure out a movie I knew him from. He's a regular in Winona Earp, I guess, is kind of his biggest role so far, but I'm not sure what else he's been in. But it's not really science fiction. They took great pains to make it very realistic. It's a 3-man mission to Mars. Whoops! There's a 4th person on board.
No way.
And it's a one-way trip, and there's nothing you can do about it. And there's only so much oxygen and food, and and it's only it's not designed for 4 people. So it's sort of that Apollo 13 idea of like trying to figure out a way to use what we have on board to survive a little bit longer. So yeah, it's not a crazy sci-fi action spectacle. It's much more grounded, but it's a fine movie. I wouldn't say it was great. It was a little bit slow paced, but I like all those actors, so it's definitely worth a watch.
Cool. Cool. I watched the movie Nobody. The Bob Odenkirk. Bob Odenkirk is John Wick, basically. Movie. It was I think yes, it is the first movie that actually paid the in theater price or whatever at home thing, where you pay $20 to rent the stinking movie. But Nick was over, so we watched it. It's like a tight hour and a half, action packed. Guy is, mild mannered guy is secretly a badass type thing. And it was very entertaining. A lot of good violence. And it was neat to see somebody like Bob Odenkirk. It's one thing to watch, John Wick, but Odenkirk, it just feels more like an everyman and stuff. I think the only thing negative I would really say about it is it's very macho. It's very like, to be a real man, you have to. That's the message that's given out by everybody in the movie, basically. This is how a real man acts. He's kind of lost in his life. He doesn't feel good until he starts doing this stuff again. And it was still fun. It's still a good escape movie to watch some good violence. I liked it.
This is the one he got into like the best shape of his life for, right?
I would assume, yeah. He was in shape. Yep, I believe it.
So, speaking of movies, and I know some people here like video games. Did anybody catch the new Mortal Kombat movie?
Yeah, we talked about it last episode.
I was just like, are we just going to silence him out? Yeah, remember when you couldn't come last time? You said you had to be quiet.
Yeah.
He must not. He lost his earbuds. He couldn't listen to the last episode.
That's what it was. Laying in the grass somewhere. What did you think of Mortal Kombat, Michael?
It was fine. I liked it. It's
That's fine.
It was fine.
It's exactly what I expected it to be. I mean,
were you now? Cliff watched it because he loved the original,
yeah,
liked and watched the original '90s movie quite a bit as a kid. So was that your entry into it, or you a big?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, that game when it came out with all the fatality moves, but I remember when the first movie came out, and it was a big deal, and Utah Saint, like I love the theme on that one. It was by Utah Saints, I think, because I was like, before this was going out, I went back and I was listening to the original soundtrack, and then I don't know where the hell I'm going with this.
I have a nickname.
He liked the song.
Poobah.
Poobah.
God, we are terrible tonight.
We're killing it.
I swear. Good God.
I want a belt that says peanut. When you fix that picture, I want a belt that says peanut.
Or the Supreme Chancellor.
Oh yeah, that would have been a good one too. Yeah, we should have thought about this before we recorded it. All right, well, before we go, I watched a couple fun ass documentaries over the last couple weeks. And since we're talking about movies, anybody else watch The Orange Years, the Nickelodeon story on Hulu?
Nope.
No. Okay. I thought maybe Jordan would. Because he probably he's the youngest, so he's probably more attuned to the some of the classic Nickelodeon stuff. For me, well, let's just start out. Documentary about the history of Nickelodeon for their most popular years. Started out as a channel in Columbus, Ohio, 1979. The big hit at the time was Pinwheel. Now I remember, Michael, you might remember Pinwheel.
Yeah, I remember Pinwheel. It was the most boringest show ever.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I hated the theme music for that. Like,
yeah.
I felt like I was a child that was forced to watch that. Like there was nothing else I could watch, but I had to sit there and watch this stupid claymation.
Yeah, I almost felt like I have to watch this before we get to a good show.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it started with Pinwheel.
Now,
educational. What?
Well, I just have a question. Is that also where Banana Man?
Yes.
Was that also? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And Danger Mouse.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we're right on the same page. But yeah, started in 79 as kids entertainment, before there was a Disney Channel or a Cartoon Network, any of that stuff that came later on. But they, it talks about their marketing strategy. Because Geraldine Laybourne ran the basically the channel for a long time, was in charge of the programming and everything. But it started off, they went with the approach like MTV did eventually. That's when they got popular. Kind of the same marketing strategy behind it. Switched over from kind of a really lame logo to the bright orange. And what they did with that, very similar, moving style logo, very similar to the way MTV did it. It changed all the time. The only thing they did was they kept the Nickelodeon that orange color on all of their commercials. Where MTV, it was always the big M with the TV, but it was always colored in differently, and it would move and be animated and stuff like that. So they went with the same theory. I read an interesting quote about it on a review. It said, hold on, let me find it. Your enjoyment of the orange years depends on when your nostalgia about Nickelodeon stops. And that completely wraps up my experience of this documentary, because I stopped with shows like Banana Man shorts and Inspector Gadget and Danger
You can't do that on
Mouse.
television.
You can't do that on television was the big one. Special Delivery, Mr. Wizard, Mysterious Cities of Gold. That was all.
Yes.
That was all stuff I watched on Nickelodeon before.
Calm your tits, Bubbles.
Mysterious Cities of Gold. I can never remember again what network or show or channel that was on.
Well, it was on Nickelodeon, Michael.
Well, now I know.
But yeah, all of those that's where I stopped pretty much before the Hey Dudes and Salute Your Shorts and Keenan and Kel and I watched Double Dare, but I didn't really watch what was the game show, Jordan, with the Olmec and all of that we talked about.
Curse of the
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Yeah,
Legends of the all
that stuff. I was done.
Good.
Yeah. So that it was interesting. It was a good documentary. I thought it could have went a little bit further, but about the time they got into like Ren and Stimpy, I was just like, my nostalgia for that channel had run out. So
I always hated Nickelodeon because by the time it was really happening, I was too old for it.
Yeah.
And so I just freaking hated it. My brother was watching it. I was like, turn that crap off. We could be watching something like good, like the Brady Bunch reruns.
So yeah. So for me, that's, that statement just, it hit the nail on the head for me because I was just like, that is exactly how I felt after watching this was, 25-30% into it. I was just like, well, that's everything I watched. So anyone that might be a little younger than me, I'm sure would feel differently.
They watch a little further into the documentary.
Yes.
Yeah, like, Jeremy and Jared's generation, Rocket
They watched
Power,
all the garbage cartoons that were terrible.
Rocco
I hated
Martin's
90s cartoons are the worst.
Cat
Everything's
Dog.
like gross and awful
Extreme.
animation and extreme.
Yeah.
The 90s are a problem.
But even like when when like
shows.
Doug came on, Doug wasn't like that, but I was way too old for it by that point, Jordan, you were like Clarissa Explains It All. You were a big fan of that show. So I'm sure you watched more of this stuff than we did.
Yeah, and I probably watched it longer, like later into my tween years than some people. But
so yeah, so that one, the others I watched two more. I thought it might be interesting, so I watched that new A&E biography, Rowdy Roddy Piper documentary, that I thought was pretty good. I really enjoyed it.
Just let me have this for a second here. I am the originator of Piper's Pit. This is my show.
What are you, crazy?
Are you people half as confused as I am?
I was in a bar in St. Louis. McMahon was there, and I said to McMahon, you give me a bow tie and a mic stand and 5 weeks, and if I don't get the job done, I'm out.
The next week on TV, he came into WWE, and there was the Piper's Pit set.
What I'm doing out of the kindness of my heart, I have a gentleman here named Frank Williams.
In the dressing room, Frankie Williams on Piper's Pit. What? And I'm going, Nobody knew anything about it.
Frank Williams, first of all.
So where are you from?
I'm Columbus, Ohio.
You're from Columbus, Ohio?
I've never lost a match in Columbus, Ohio. Have you ever lost a match?
Yeah.
You have.
You know, you're a nice guy, but you're a lousy wrestler. You've never won a match. Now he's hot. And now the cameraman's going, get off of this. So I'm getting off of it. Okay, Frankie. Okay, Frankie. Get out, Frankie. Here comes Frankie back. He's going to get his first win. I had to knee him, and I'm turning, and I'm seeing 5, 4, and I said,
Just when they think they ain't got the answers. I change the questions.
That first sentence might have been, I was born in San Juan, and I got to Columbus in the... I might not have it a second week. When he said, I'm from Columbus, Ohio, we're rolling. And it set the tone for everything.
Now, I did not see that, but there was one that I'd watched a long time ago. I think it was on Netflix. And that man lived an interesting life.
Yeah, and that's what made he made the documentary good. They did most of the interviews were his family, his wife and children that remain, along with a lot of people from the wrestling business. But they didn't shy away too much from his early life, having a terrible life at home, not fitting in.
Yeah, he was like homeless at 14, I think, or something.
He left home at like 14, lived on the streets, did some bad stuff, had some bad stuff done to him, and then got he was a bagpiper. He actually played the bagpipes to the point where he was like the number 10 piper in the world at the time. So he was from Canada, and he broke into the wrestling business just as a, hey, I can do that type of thing, and came up through the wrestling world. But it really kind of showcased more than anything just number one, how he separated his being on the road most of the time and his family life. He didn't want his kids to have the bad experiences like he had at home. And then after, living on the streets and stuff like that. And then number two, just how innovative and how, kind of genius he was, especially for being in that business at that time. They have notebooks that he used to work out all these little catchphrases and stuff he would come up with and say, on wrestling shows. So
that's kind of his claim to fame, was his mouth.
Yeah.
And they gave him at the Piper's Pit, his talk show before the matches and stuff. And like, wow, you're so good off the cuff. And it's like, he did the work. He sat and like figured out what he was going to say and clever little quips that he was going to use. So.
Yeah. So that was really good. So yeah, if you're looking for a documentary, maybe pass up the Orange Years if you weren't a Nickelodeon kid, and maybe watch Rowdy Roddy Piper on A&E, and then
A&E's doing a whole series of wrestling on that biography. They Stone Cold Steve Austin. I watched the Macho Man Randy Savage and Booker T. Some of the more recent people. So. Yeah, they're doing a whole wrestling segment this month.
Well, after I watched, because I messaged you guys and mentioned that I watched that Rowdy Roddy Piper biography, and then Jordan, you said you'd watched it and really liked it, and that they had a new one coming out on the Macho Man. So I was at work the other day, and I was like, well, I'm going to watch the Macho Man one. So I pulled it up, and I watched it, and it definitely wasn't as good. I want to say, I didn't think it was as good as it should have been. It didn't
have as many like personal anecdotes, and people, talk to his brother and stuff, but it didn't have a lot of insight to who he was as a person.
Yeah, and that was kind of my problem with it, was like, who was on the
Macho Man was the Macho Man 24/7.
I did like his brother said that, like, before he figured out that character, they were talking, like, how should I do the voice? And they were talking about, influences. He's like, and he came up with that voice. He's like, I never heard him talk the same. Yeah. He's like, he never heard him not use that voice the rest of his life.
Wow.
Like, he committed to the bit.
How could you just
hold you?
How could you do that all the time?
For 30 years, he talked that way.
Oh, I want to go use the bathroom.
That's the iced tea, brother.
Yeah, and like that stuff was good, but I didn't care for like.
You have to eat a lot of Slim Jims.
But he had
that's all you could say.
A radio show host. They had a radio show host, Bubba the Sponge Man or whatever he was. from like Florida that
Bubba, Bubba the Love Sponge.
I was gonna say that's close. I know it's something like that.
But he didn't like. He made fun of the Macho Man at the time, and had like a real life bad, relationship with the guy, and made fun of him on the radio. And this is the guy they got to talk about him on the biography. Like him and Hogan, I thought maybe should not have been on it as much as they were, and so
that one did. It was nice. It made a point. He's one of the few wrestlers to have a life after wrestling. Like usually, it's a bad ending, or it is they hang on way too long until they're way past their prime. He actually got to retire and have a few years of peace outside of the spotlight. So that was
right.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there
still kept talking like that.
Right.
Yeah. But
Elizabeth.
That was the other thing. It was like his relationship with Elizabeth. The little wrestling I watched as a kid, I remember. Oh, that's his lovely wife Elizabeth.
Yes,
and he's really in love with her. Like he was like abusive to her.
Yep.
Like shoving her around the ring, and I don't remember any of that as a kid. Like I don't know if I didn't see enough or it just went over my head. But like him telling her, "You speak when you're spoken to," and not letting another man look at her and all this stuff. It's like, oh wow, their relationship was weird.
Yeah, I definitely didn't remember that either. And talking about like him like locking her in the closet in the locker room and stuff, so nobody else could look at her. I questioned a little bit of that. Like I don't doubt that he was some sort of possessive over her, but I don't know. I just felt like
was that just more of the show?
Yeah, it was. Working the gimmick.
Right.
Well, when you do a lot of drugs, man, you do a lot of crazy things.
If we talk about this long enough, Michael's gonna die tonight.
Gonna have an aneurysm.
I'm not the biggest wrestling fan, but I find a lot of it fascinating. I enjoy the history of it, and I had almost a chance to write a comic book about Roddy Piper at one point, which is a long story.
Oh yeah.
But I did an awful lot of research. I read his autobiography. Like I learned a whole lot about him, and I came away liking him even more. So if I had a favorite wrestler, it would definitely be Piper. And that I think that documentary did a serviceable job telling his life story.
Definitely. So one was definitely better than the other. I don't know that I'll watch any more of them, but I thought at least those are two good characters to certainly tell a story with. So that's all I've been watching.
All right, that should do it.
Well, as always, I'm the illustrious Michael Case.
Ooh, flying elbow.
Okay, one of those ordered. If I can pull those.
Now, see, you guys always get mad at me for taking so long to do the outro. And the one time that I do it correctly, you guys got to screw it up.
They're searching for toys.
Never mind.
I got a Macho Man hero click, and he's coming in from the top rope.
Oh, Lord.
Well, I have a miniature Macho Man around here somewhere. I was going to use for something, but
miniature
can't find
Macho Man. All right, my name is the Captain.
Oh, Cliff Barnes.
Oh no! What's wrong, Cat Daddy?
It's been too many years. Time to put that one to rest.
I like pizza, Steve.
Multiplicity.
Thank you.
That was it.
Wasn't gonna leave that one hanging.
He's Bubbles and I'm Spiff. Bye forever.
Ding dong.
Got that right.
He is connecting to audio. Coming live from his basement.
Oh, God.
he's still got the he's still on the Godzilla train.
It's been a while.
Well, I watched, let me pause for just a minute. I'm getting a million messages on my messenger saying I've been hacked on my Facebook. So I'm going to change let me change my password real quick because now people are messaging, I think you've been hacked.
Yeah, you've messaged me 3 different times telling me. So
just while I've been sitting
here. It looks like you.
Yeah, that's what, yep.
Wow.
It's you sending us a YouTube video saying it looks like you.
Oh, boy.
Hackers never sleep.
Nope. Good Lord. I know.
So, while you're fixing that, I'm a member of the Rob Liefeld's extreme group that he has on Facebook.
Of course, it would be called extreme.
Well, of course it is. It's 90 nostalgia,
and it's extreme.
Yeah, but anyway, well, I mean that was the name of his studio.
I know. Yeah. Of course it was. He's extreme.
But anyway, they're doing, all these artists are doing like a jam piece and of all his characters, and we got to pick who we wanted or whatever. And I got Supreme, of course, the Superman version. But that's what I'm working on. You can't even freaking see it. Seriously.
Oh, Jack looks just like Jack Kirby.
I know, right? What the hell? My green screen works too well. Ah!
Wow, looks just like. How'd you do that? Draw right what's behind you. Perfectly.
That pisses me off. I just got a message from Christy. I just got this from Cliff. I hope she didn't click on it. Hold on a second.
All right.
They found out your password was Cat Daddy.
Yeah, we said it. Yeah, that's what it was.
That would have been good.
So anyway, take my word for it. I'm drawing Supreme while we do this. I thought it would be neat to be part of like a jam session or whatever.
Yeah, came in and just had a flyer for that Mario Kart thing. He's like, hey, could you put this up for us? And then he explained it. We're having a tournament where you can come in and pay $5 and play Mario Kart and drink beers. Like, okay. And he turned to go and he's like, oh, specifically told me to tell you that we missed Ka-Pow at trivia. I was like, okay. I was like, we've been overly cautious. He's like, no, we have a summer tournament coming up, so we're about to start a new tournament. I was like, okay. I was very non-committal to the whole thing.
Well, I do miss trivia and pizza and beer.
Mostly the
I like pizza, Steve.
Is that Bubbles' voice?
No, that's the third clone of God, what the hell is that movie? Not Michael Keaton. Multiplicity.
Wow.
I like pizza, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
Pull.
Yep.
Way back.
That's how my brain works.
You need to make that's your next cover. It's the next. You have got to. Cliff, take this in. This is your next. This is your next Ka-Pow cover. Back that up so you can see the poses and stuff here.
I'm so glad
I'm so glad. Put our heads on there.
Put a little kitty on his shoulder.
Put our heads. You're the cat dummy.
Not cat dummy, cat daddy.
I know, but I was just like, this is so obvious. That's exactly the art. We just gotta put our faces on there.
We did it.
We fucking did it again. Yeah. Nice.
This is one of the free. They're doing a free comic day issue of this, and then they're going to do a mini series, Trailer Park Boys. So this was like a free sample they sent me.
Nice. Put some drumsticks in the middle guy's hand. Put a Calvin and Hobbes shirt on me or something on the guy on the right, and you got it.
I've never watched. Is this show any good?
I've never seen it.
I mean, I see tons of references to it and quotes about it, but I've never watched any of it.
It does not look like my type of humor. That's what I see when I see that. Bunch of rednecky shit that I see that every day. It probably, seriously though, that humor probably works better with people that aren't just fucking around rednecks all the time.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I think it stopped. Lord. Anybody, do we have any other movies?
And we just had all our best content while we stopped recording.
Of course.
Cheers, mates. That's how we roll.
Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, @gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, please sign up to be a patron through the Podbean app or our website, www.udownwithkpp.com, to receive special content and early access to some episodes. We are grateful to anyone that chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will always remain free, so please continue to like, comment, and share.